Okay, let's start. Okay. A very good morning to fellow participants of today's AAET Green Award Breakfast Chat with past winners. I'm Yao Chao Fong here. I'm your moderator of today's event. And a warm welcome to all participants, be it AAET members or even guests, and of course, friends from the ASEAN region. I'm glad to host the fourth AAET Green Award Breakfast Chat. We had the three editions of AAET Green Award Breakfast Chats with past winners, I think a few months ago. And this is the fourth edition. And as mentioned, and of course, shared with all earlier and in the flyers, today we're going to have three past winners to be reversed, and also to share with us their success stories, and also how they get themselves involved in green industries, as well as also green initiatives. And they are very prominent people in the ASEAN region, young and energetic, and they were our past winners from all these years. And we had, I think, more or less about 3 editions of the past winners. Today, we have another 3 joining us, and we hope that they will be able to actually share and, of course, also inspire the young engineers to participate in the Green Awards as well. So without further ado, I would like to start this session. And of course, normally the session will be actually introduced and, of course, opened by our coordinator, as well as also the chair of this Green Award Committee, Engineer Chu. But of course, he's actually in another webinar. Nowadays, it's all about webinars. He will be joining us later at the end of this session. So let's start our session today. And of course, maybe just a quick introduction of AAET Green Award 2021, or we call it AGA 2021. Well, this year we will have the Green Awards participants, and of course, registration as well, and of course, awards to be at the end of the year. And it's organized none other than the ASEAN Academy of Engineering and Technology, AAET. Now, of course, the objective of the award is to recognize the outstanding young green technopreneurs and young contributors to the green growth in the ASEAN region. And of course, we want to encourage young engineers, young entrepreneurs below the age of 40 to actually participate and, of course, make a difference in this sustainable development contribution. Okay, and of course, we'll be sharing with you shortly. Let me go into the main. Okay, so of course, Engineer Chu will be coming in shortly at the end of the session to give a few words of encouragement to all of you today. And without further ado, let's move on to our speakers of the day. We have 3 speakers, and would not like to actually hold the limelight of them. So I will just introduce the first speaker of the day. She's none other than from Brunei, Ms. Liao Linji. She is the grand winner of MCCC AAET Green Award 2015, about 6 years ago. And she's currently the president of the Biodiversity and Natural History Society, Brunei, and of course, the country manager of DHI Water and Environment. Now today, she's going to share with us her topic on BRUWAL. I hope that I pronounced correctly, BRUWAL, mainstreaming biodiversity. So without further ado, let me introduce the speaker, Ms. Liao Linji, to take over the control of the screen and share with us today her topic. Are you ready, Ms. Liao?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yao. I would like to share my screen if you allow me.
Sure.
It still says you cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing. So Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Good morning,
Yes,
everyone, and thank you for having me. Yes, I'm Linji. I'm still humbled and proud to be the grand winner of MCCC AAET Green Award. Today, I'll be sharing with you a little bit about BrewWild, what I do for a living, and what has happened since I've won the award. So indeed, today, the main topic is mainstreaming biodiversity. Here I've put a clause in there, the urgent need to protect and safeguard our natural assets. And you can see why as we go further through the slides. So I've created BrewWild as a Facebook group in 2013 as a platform to engage with young leaders and also to inspire the local people here to appreciate biodiversity. When I was in university, I was perplexed to find that Brunei Darussalam hosts a great variety of biodiversity that I did not know about, until I went to university. So knowing biodiversity and how important it is to protect biodiversity, I was taken aback that no one knows much about biodiversity. So I form a group of passionate individuals from different fields of expertise in 2013, form an NGO in April 2014, and we're now 20 people strong. We've been active since then. But why biodiversity? So many times when we talk about biodiversity, I always want to remind everybody that biodiversity and people are essentially the same thing. But biodiversity encapsulates the variety of life on Earth, and it can go into sort of three broad categories: the genetic level, the species level, and the ecosystem level. So we know all about this. But what we often forget is why it's important. So I've taken this sort of slide, if you like, from the EU, and you can see that this tree is symbolic. So the biodiversity, because it encapsulates all variety of life on Earth, it provides us multitude of services, ecosystem services, as we call it, to sustain life, and our economies in a large part also hinges on good biodiversity. So supporting services, regulating services, provisioning, in terms of food, fiber, medicine, culture, our connection with nature, all this stems from biodiversity. But because we live in the urban world, sometimes we get disconnected with biodiversity, and often we forget how important it is to our lives. So to bring it local in Brunei, the biodiversity that we talk about here is essentially on my screen. So Brunei's forests, we exhibit high species richness. There are many species in one locale, and endemism. Species that can only be found in Brunei and nowhere else, or ideally on Borneo and nowhere else. So the Brunei checklist, albeit it's old, records about 2,000 tree species, in which 120 are endemic. And you can see in the table here the various forest types we have in Brunei, and the number of species, and in percentage, what is the level of Borneo endemism. And as you can see, it's fairly high. For mixed tetrachard, that encompasses a large portion of Brunei's forest type. 85% of that is considered endemic, Borneo endemic. So that's about trees, but we also talk about mammals, terrestrial mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. And here you can see for birds, we have high number of species. In comparison with our friends and neighbors in ASEAN, I'm sure you also have good numbers to share. But this is close to my hometown. This is my country. So here are some statistics to share. And you can see on my screen that every day we still find new species. New species discoveries in Brunei Darussalam. And here are some of the species that are found from the terrestrial ecosystem. You have ones that can only be found in Temburong, one of the districts in Brunei, called the Timburongia simplex. Frogs, snails, the most recent one, as you can see, it was named after Greta Thunberg, one of our role models that fights for climate change. So these are just some of the new species discoveries in Brunei. And why do we want to show this? We want to show this because we want to illustrate to people that even though, you know, as we're busy with our life, we still get new species, new to science that people don't know about, you know. So if you cut down trees, then, you know, with a high rate of deforestation, that just simply means taking away, you know, the opportunities of learning more about what nature holds. Yeah. Then from the marine ecosystem, we've got coral communities that lines the coast of Brunei Darussalam. You see these patches, yeah, of coral communities here. Have any of you visited Brunei and dive in these areas before? I mean, probably we can't match with our friends in KK or in Sabah. They've got beautiful corals there as well as in the Philippines. But Brunei being so small, we're also proud to host. And Mr. Fogg, I see a thumbs up. But we also host pockets of beautiful biodiversity in Brunei. Yeah. And of course, within the marine ecosystem, we again find new species in Brunei. Yeah, so with our friends, again, neighbors in ASEAN, we continue to find new species, both in the terrestrial ecosystem and the marine ecosystem. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I've shown you so far, and I'm speaking very quickly because I'm hoping to have a discussion. So what we found is that, you know, we've got biodiversity that's important for our livelihood. Just on one image, you can see that it provides multitude of ecosystem services. And then at the same time, you also see that biodiversity right now hosts so much value that we have not tapped, that we don't yet know, right? But these biodiversity globally, yeah, especially regionally in ASEAN, we face multiple threats, okay? So the threats to biodiversity in the next couple of slides are ones that are faced in Brunei Darussalam. So recently, and I here say recent because it's only a year or two ago, we see that forest fires become very, very prominent in the country. Usually it's exacerbated during El Nino periods, but now it becomes more frequent. You know, peat soil areas, you can see in this map here, the zones in reds are just areas that are what we call hotspots, yeah, to forest fire. And from there, obviously, we get loss of habitat and biodiversity. And because a large part of these areas, peat soil that sequester or a carbon sink, by burning them, releases high levels of carbon dioxide. We also get other problems, you know, from climate change, we also get wildlife poaching. So illegal hunting and selling of wildlife is also a problem that we commonly face. Perhaps not in a scale as large or as high or significant as those in Thailand, for example, when it comes to poaching of pangolin, you know, or Malaysia with birds, multiple birds, pangolins also one, slow loris another, but we still get them in Brunei. Overfishing in the terrestrial zone, you do get overfishing, illegal fishing by unlicensed operators in Brunei waters is one. You also get sort of trespassing, yeah, of fishermen from other countries that come in and then illegally fish in our area. So that's also a threat to our biodiversity. And most important one right now is land conversion, yeah. So land use changes, you know, cutting down of trees and biodiversity for various purposes are also one of the biggest threats that's facing Brunei, likewise in other countries as well. So not forgetting, of course, invasive species. Invasive species often are overlooked because they creep on you. Yeah, acacia, for example, was brought in. Acacia tree species, for example, was originally from Australia. But now, after a forest fire, acacia trees actually grow way, way faster than our local species. So after an episode of forest fire, you will see that most of the acacia grow up much, much quicker than our local species. Yeah, so that's one example. But what I want to get at is recognizing, you know, the importance of biodiversity, you know, and recognizing the threats that we're facing and this race, you know, this race to protect our biodiversity and not have them cut down for development, this climate change. there is this need of mainstreaming biodiversity. So when we say mainstreaming biodiversity, it really means is to let everybody know, everybody meaning to say non-scientists know how important biodiversity is. So when you go back and you speak to your brothers and sisters, your aunt, uncles and parents, ask them whether they know much about biodiversity. And truth is, they will share with you a lot of good stories back then, when they connect with nature, for example. So these ideas, this knowledge about biodiversity needs to be communicated, to everybody, so that it's not just a pursuit by the scientist, it's not just a problem for the scientists to fix. It should be everyone's, only because biodiversity is really the core, the core that governs the health of our, or how you say, the quality of our life. So obviously, because of all recognition of all of this, I created or founded BrewWild just to do this, just to mainstream biodiversity. So the first and most important thing was, like I mentioned to you earlier on, I didn't know about biodiversity until I was in university. So as soon as I formed BrewWild, I have, put together this group of experts, and we work with designers to come up with simple things like posters, educational posters that can be distributed to all government schools in Brunei. Here, there are just a few posters to share, but we have been producing, if you like, almost one poster almost every year since we've established. So you can see lowland birds of Brunei, snakes of Brunei, frogs of Brunei. And I always have researchers asking me, hey, Linji, why just Brunei? You should do Borneo lah, bigger scale. Yes, I would like to do that, but it's the local biodiversity that I'm trying to push. So that's one. And this picture here is BrewWild's vice president. Recently, we get handed over 150 posters through the Ministry of Education to be distributed to all the schools in Brunei. That was during Earth Day this year. Then we also made documentaries, right? So not just poster. Tiny Heroes of Our Sea is the first local documentary made by us, and it encapsulates sort of small critters that lives in the marine ecosystem. And this Tiny Heroes of Our Sea was jointly made by us, a social enterprise, actually two of them from Singapore, Our Seas, Our Legacies, and Sustainable. And once we've materialized this, this documentary sort of moved air in different parts of the world. So apart from just using the media platform to engage with viewers and sort of passionate individuals towards marine conservation, it also went through Peace Boat. If you know Peace Boat, there is it's a Japanese NGO-led movement. They hop into like this big cruise ship and travel from Asia all the way to Malta. So the people in there, as you can see in the picture here, so these people, as you can see, are not youth people. They're all elderly. And one of the most touching moments that came out from this was how one of them came up to us in tears, saying that was one of the most touching documentary they've seen of marine biodiversity from one small country in Southeast Asia. We also managed to share this with His Majesty, the Sultan of Brunei, and got his endorsement, as you can see from the picture here, that he has signed off. And because we've done such a good work out from this, BrewWild's activities are captured in last year's United Nations, here you see, High-Level Political Forum of Sustainable Development. So a lot of stuff we've done since AAET. Now, because we have so much positive feedback and response from our work, we now move to a mangrove documentary. And I'll show you one. Can you hear the video?
No, it's just the video clip only. Perhaps.
Oh, is there a way I could enable that?
You have to click to the share screen, and then at the bottom, there's a button for audio. Can you find it?
Advanced sharing option, I think.
Yep.
Okay, and then with audio. I can't find it. Let's see. Share sound. Okay.
Yep.
Shall we try again?
Yep, sure.
Let's try. If it would allow it to play, if it wants to play.
Yeah, I can hear.
Through this micro-documentary, we'd like to share with you some of the unique and interesting biodiversity we have in Brunei Darussalam. In this series, we'll be looking at our natural shoreline protector, the mangroves.
You can hear that?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So this documentary we recently launched about November last year, and we played it to in several sort of events or platforms. And we're pleased to share with you that even banks, you know, Biodiversity Bank Group, a local bank here, is impressed, I guess, by the work, and they're willing to sponsor us for our upcoming video that focus on rocky shores. So if you're interested in watching the video, please have a look and then drop us your feedback. And then moving forward, so we've got posters, we've got documentaries, you know, but we also rescue wildlife. So Dr. Falk, I think previously when I was presenting for the AAET, this was one of the things I presented, that BRUWAL also focus on rescuing wildlife. And I'm pleased to share that at the moment we are still rescuing wildlife. Yeah. With the local authorities. So obviously now we focus on more important species such as like the pangolin and slow loris. And with the recent, you know, episode of COVID-19, you know, when I came in, I saw Tony and Dr. Forky were talking about the implications of COVID-19, one of which the wildlife that is affected is obviously the pangolin. Yeah? So there were a lot of negative perception about this wildlife. So we made it as a part of our responsibility to clarify the sort of the misconception about this wildlife, and why it is important to have natural forests, intact natural forests, because they serve to, they are the key habitats of most wildlife. So they don't get into urban areas, and therefore limiting this transfer of zoonotic diseases. Yeah, so on the screen here, you can see it's one of the local newspaper that captured our work. Not long after the AAET award in 2015. So, like I said, biodiversity, mainstreaming biodiversity means to engage a larger public group, yeah, not just the scientists. So over the years, I've worked with creatives, you know, through sort of F&B, if you like, food and beverage, through kids and crayon, what do you call it, like a pouch where kids can buy from Royal Brunei. Yeah, here in this pouch, it also educates the purchaser or the parents about our local biodiversity. We also made kids pajamas that are from sustainable material. And this one, Animal Dash, is, I don't know if I can play this, but let's try. The virtual run. So in this virtual run, it shows basically the key wildlife that are in Brunei.
Oh,
So
French fire.
Hey?
You 幫人整啦。
Sorry?
Hopefully y'all can mute your microphones if you're not speaking. Thank you.
So what I'm saying is, even through virtual runs, we have managed to engage with people, trying to educate them, what are the local biodiversity we have. And I keep repeating this because that is the real core of biodiversity. So all these works is what we have done in the last 2015, about 4 to 5 years now since AAET. And Bruwal has gained a strong platform, a strong audience since then. Yeah, the Reptile 101, for example, people thought, it's a reptile show, but no, it's not. So we're engaging people, the importance of reptiles through creative means. So there are lots of that we've done in the past 5 to 6 years. Sorry, and in the past 2 years, our work has been recognized globally and regionally. So for regionally, the ASEAN Youth Biodiversity Leaders, I don't know if you've heard of that, but I was selected as one of the representatives from Brunei, just to share, like I am today, our contribution towards biodiversity protection. And the Earthshot Prize is from UK. Yeah, so we become the nominator for this $1 million prize competition. So that is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I can see that I'm speaking very, very quickly. But if you have any questions at all about Bruwal, please just feel free to ask. I should add before I hand it over to Mr. Yao, is that at full time, you can see from my portfolio that I'm also the country manager of DHI Water and Environment, and it is an environmental consultancy company, an international one. So what I'm trying to say is I'm protecting the environment day in and day out. It's my full-time job. It's my hobby. It's almost everywhere that I go, every day that I work on, it's all about environmental protection. So thank you for having me, ladies and gentlemen. Back to you, Mr. Yao.
Thank you, Linji, for such an interesting topic, especially on Bruwal. That makes us very eager to visit you soon after the pandemic, maybe, hopefully in Brunei soon. Once again, thank you, Linji, for the talk. We will leave the questions to the end of the sessions after the 3 speakers have actually spoken later. So please feel free to post your questions into the chat group. Or if you need, we can also open up the microphones later for you to actually ask questions to Ms. Liao. Okay, now let's move on to our next speaker of the day. Let me put up the let me share the screen again on the speakers. Okay, so we had Ms. Liao speaking earlier. So let's move on to our second speaker. The second speaker is none other from Indonesia. We have Dr. Tony Agostino Kurniawan. He is the country winner of Green Awards 2015. He is currently the visiting professor at Polytechnic of Health Indonesia, and he's also a PhD holder from the Hong Kong Polytechnic of University, China. And today, the topic that he's going to present to us is adding value to unused liquid waste for wastewater treatment. So I'd like to invite Dr. Tony on the stage, on the screen, to present to us the topic, adding value to unused liquid waste for wastewater treatment. Dr. Tony, the screen is yours.
I cannot share my screen yet.
Okay, sure. Because of the co-hosting. Okay, give me a second. I would put you as the host. And okay, can you try?
Okay. Yeah, I can.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Yes. Yeah. You can proceed. Thank you, Dr. Tony.
Yes, we can see. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to talk a part of my work today, and the title of my work is Adding Value to Unused Wastewater for Wastewater Treatment. This is my brief introduction. I have expertise in wastewater treatment and how to use circular economy for water treatment, because my background is applied science. So I have to think how to incorporate the paradigm of waste management into into wastewater treatment. So this is my brief profile from Scopus. So far, I published 78 journals and have been cited over 7,800 articles, 7,800 citation counts. So I would like to ask you, what are the common environmental problems in our regions? Any idea? So this is a common problem in our region, such as water pollutions, because of industrial wastewater and offers excessive waste management. You can see waste everywhere in the developing region, in the developing country like Indonesia, and they just dispose of the waste in open dump. So as scientists, we have to think how to contribute our work to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So as my research expertise in water treatment, so I have to think how my work contribute to clean water and how the work promotes sustainable society and economies through responsible consumption and production. So here is the logic of my work. So we are living now in the fourth industrial revolution, where we have to think how to use circular economy to promote our work. For example, we can apply resource recovery paradigm from unused agricultural waste or industrial products by tackling the waste problem using another waste as solution. So using this way, we can achieve zero waste approach. So this is the success story I would like to share with you. So the highlight of this work is how unused metallic waste from liquid wastewater could be used to treat another form of waste present in the environment. And we could achieve almost complete removal of pyrophosphate using these adsorbents, using the following optimal conditions. And we could regenerate the adsorbents during the first cycle of the spent saturated active carbon, and the treated effluent could meet the required effluent limit set by the national legislation. So it is the electroplating wastewater samples, as you can see. As scientists, we have to think how to make use this wastewater, how to add value. Just let it be, or we have to consider circular economy to add value to the wastewater. So current approach, people use chemical precipitation to remove the heavy metal in the wastewater, but it is not cost effective because we have to spend additional costs to treat the sludge, and we have to dispose of into landfill. So there is new idea in this field to convert the unused liquid waste into LDS, layered double hydroxide. So we synthesize the adsorbent from concentrated metallic waste that remain after metal finishing process. And we could use the adsorbent to remove the target pollutant using the synthesized adsorbent. So the objective of this work is to eliminate water pollution problem due to the target pollutants, and we can reuse the metal containing liquid waste as adsorbent for water treatment. And last but not least, we can remediate the aquatic environment by adding technological value into the adsorbents. So if we talk about the pyrophosphate as the target pollutant, we know the different speciation at different pH of the target pollutant like this. So in this work, we try to figure out what is the adsorption mechanism. So from our study, we can remove the target pollutant using electrostatic interaction, and we can also use ion exchange, where one anion replace another anions in the ion exchange process. And we can regenerate the absorbance after being saturated, and you can see that the first cycle of the absorbent could be regenerated using sodium hydroxide, and it could achieve reasonable regeneration efficiency, okay, about 86%. The first the virgin adsorbent can be used for 100% removal, but after the first regeneration, it could still achieve reasonable performance at 85%. So from this work, we can see the advantage and the limitation of the adsorbents. You can see from this table, the adsorbent could work at various pH and acidic and alkaline conditions, and it could work also in varying concentration effluents. And the synthesis of the adsorbent is simple and it's not time consuming, okay? But the adsorbent have limitation, because if we are not careful, the adsorbent could release toxic metal ions into the environments. And after the first regeneration, it is difficult to maintain reasonable regeneration efficiency, okay? And the size of the adsorbent is very small in nanometer. So what are the implications of this work on the environment? First, the treated effluent could meet the stringent discharge limit of less than 1 milligram per liter set by the local legislation. And by converting the unused wastewater into adsorbent, we can recover valuable metal from electroplating wastewater. And the recovery of the heavy metal could enable us to preserve depleted resources in concentrated amount. So this is my advice for young scientists. First is we have to understand the problem you want to tackle, what we should look in picture, okay, and then get an established advisor, okay, not necessarily Nobel Prize, but a supervisor that could lead you along the way throughout your study, that you can have good relationship with him or her. And it is important for you to have important contacts with those guys. And when you do research, okay, you just not do interesting problem, but think how your research contribute to solve the environment problem, okay? And have a team that you can explore, develop the team, okay, along your career, okay? Like me, I start from converting waste, coconut shell waste from coconut industry, and then now I have idea to develop to convert unused liquid waste from electroplating wastewater. The same resources from electroplating wastewater, but I try to do common things uncommonly. How to develop, how to think outside the box, and explain what is the importance of the works and why other people have to be interested in this work too. So you can talk on the same page to them and make your team of work compelling, okay? And by having interesting team, that you can maximize the chance to stand out among the crowd, okay, through your achievement. So you need to have a strategy to stand ahead, okay? And don't have single-minded, okay? You need to expand your research expertise. So therefore, in the recent year, I expand my research expertise not only on water treatment, but also on waste management, renewable energy from unused resources, and work have collaboration with other people that could complementary to your expertise. So by having this collaboration, you can expand your expertise and you can understand other people's works, and it is very important for your future. So this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for your attentions.
Thank you, Dr. Tony, with such a short and sweet presentation today. I particularly like the final messages that and of course advice from Dr. Tony. Get involved with people and of course network with old boys. That is a very good one, where get ourselves involved with networking, as well as also get to know people all around the region, which I believe today we have a lot of like seniors, and of course a combination of seniors and juniors. And this is also a platform for you all to network and of course know each other as well. So once again, thank you, Dr. Tony, for the presentation. Yeah, let's move on to our next speaker. Again, a reminder, we will put the, please feel free to put up your questions in the chat box, and we will be actually opening up the Q&A session at the end of after these three speakers have actually spoken today. Now let's move on to our next guest speaker. The third and the last speaker is none other than Engineer Dr. Francis Dave Common-Saikor from Philippines. He is the country winner of AAET Green Award 2015, currently the project manager of the School of Engineering, University of San Carlos Technological Center, Cebu City, Philippines. And the topic he's presenting to us today is recovery of processes of high-value products from waste mango seeds. So recovery processes of high-value products from waste mango seeds. Our guest speaker, Engineer Dr. Francis Dave. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Yao, for that introduction. And good morning, everyone. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to thank Dr. Fok Kukfai of the ASEAN Academy of Engineering and Technology for this invitation. So it has been over, I think, 6 years since our last conversation during the ASEAN Green Awards 2015 that was held in Malaysia. And it is always an honor to be invited, and I am always excited to share my experiences and success stories about the green initiatives that our university, which is University of San Carlos, particularly in the department that I belong, are undertaking. So I strongly believe that it is important to strike a balance between economic growth and environment sustainability, especially that we are in the midst of an unfortunate circumstance right now, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. And to everyone who is in this virtual room right now, I hope that you are safe, healthy, and sane as you listen to our my presentation. So my presentation for this morning's virtual chat is about the recovery processes of high-value products from waste mango seeds. So the Philippines continues to be one of the leading mango producers worldwide, in which the domestic market captures more than 90% of the annual production, while the rest is for export. So with this, the country is also generating over 350,000 metric tons of mango processing waste annually, in which a huge portion is merely dumped due to insufficient means of disposal of the mango processors in the country. So hence this work aimed to address the urgent call of reusing mango processing waste materials, particularly mango seeds, through the principle of waste valorization, wherein waste are used as raw material for new products and applications. So this is also in connection to the presentation of Linji on biodiversity, because I think if we talk about biodiversity, we also need to be conscious about the waste, because every day we are generating waste. And also this is in connection also to the presentation of Dr. Tony on wastewater. So before I elaborate further, I would like to introduce myself to the participants and to the rest of the audience members. So I am a research associate of the Bioprocess Engineering and Research Center of the university, and also an assistant instructor. I obtained my Doctor of Engineering just this year from the same university. And aside from my full-time positions, I'm also the project manager of several projects in our School of Engineering, such as the reduction, control, and mitigation of marine plastic litter in the Philippines, that is funded by United Kingdom. And also we have projects on the development of biodegradable face mask that is funded by our Department of Science and Technology. And lastly, the development of patches with bioactive compounds, which is funded by the USAID. So in 2016 to 2018, I was a research scholar of the Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio, participating in projects involving spray drying and additive manufacturing. So since joining BioPerk, or the Bioprocess Engineering and Research Center, in 2012, our biggest project until now is on the integrated processes for the treatment of mango waste of fruit processing. So because of this project, our center was able to produce 2 patent applications, and I am one of the inventors. And actually, my presentation today is a component of this project because this is a really big project. And to date, I have several research publications as listed on the slides, and I hope to increase it further through collaborations with other universities and universities who are with us right now. So I have also participated in several local and international research conferences organized by our Department of Science and Technology, several organizations, international organizations such as the TIIKM, or the Institute of Knowledge Management, Asian Federation of Biotechnology, conferences organized by Case Western Reserve University and also by our university. So I always look forward to participate in conferences because it gives me the opportunity to network to other researchers and experts. And as mentioned, I was fortunately selected, and I'm always humbled by the award as the country winner from our country for the ASEAN Green Awards in 2015. So today's event is somewhat nostalgic, and I think it's a mini reunion with Alinji and Dr. Tony. So I was looking forward to reunite with other winners, but probably at another opportune time. So during this event, I presented our work in BioPerk, and at that time, I remember that I was really anxious about it, and anxious in sharing our project because we were just starting and we feel that our technology is not yet that developed. However, 6 years passed and a lot has changed and has been improved in the integrated processes for the treatment of mango waste of fruit processing. So to give you a better perspective of why we are doing what we are doing, so here is mango fruit. And as mentioned, mango is one of the most important fruit crops of the Philippines in terms of volume and value. And in fact, this is our national fruit. So in the production of commercial products from mangoes, only the mesocarp, or the flesh part, which is about 33% to 85% of the fruit mass, is consumed and utilized. So the peels, the seed husk, and kernels, which is about 15% to 67% of the fruit mass, are left as waste materials and are simply disposed to landfills. So the disposal of mango waste has become a growing problem due to its increasing generation over time, because from time to time people eat mangoes. So from an environmental and socioeconomic perspective, there is an urgent call to eliminate or at least mitigate these waste materials or byproducts. So the chemical composition of, it is important for us to utilize the waste materials from mango processing byproducts to determine the chemical composition of these waste materials. And these are listed on this on the table in the slide. And as shown in the tables, it indicates that these waste materials can be a potential raw material in the production of valuable products as enumerated here. So from mango seed husks, we can obtain bioethanol, polymeric materials, and fermentation products. For the mango seed kernels, we can obtain phenolic compounds, flour or starch, depending on the processing, and also lipids, which can be used for biodiesel production. So among these products, bioethanol, lignin, and nanocellulose, mango seed husk, as well as phenolic compounds for mango seed kernels, are found to be of higher value due to the range of application and market value. So since the ASEAN Green Awards 2015, the project has evolved and has undergone major developments to include the high value products that I've mentioned a while ago. So it took us over 5 years to realize the recovery processes of high value products from a component of mango waste, which is the mango seed. So from 2016 to 2017, much of our efforts was directed towards recovery of polyphenolic compounds from mango seed kernels in various form, either in aqueous form or as a spray dried powder. So in 2018, we had an opportunity to explore mango seed husk as raw material for cellulose nanocrystal production, which is an important polymeric material. And afterwards, recovery of lignocellulosic components from mango seed husk, particularly lignin and celluloses, was explored in 2019 to 2020 for platform chemical and bioethanol applications. So this work aimed to address the urgent call of reusing mango processing waste materials, particularly mango seeds, through the principle of waste valorization, wherein waste are used as raw material for new products and applications. And consequently, these waste materials are given value from being seemingly useless. So the objectives of this work were to conceptualize, design, and implement processes that would lead towards efficient recovery of phenolic compounds from mango seed kernel, as well as cellulose nanocrystals and organosolved lignin from mango seed husk, and production of sugar-rich hydrolysate from mango seed husk as a starting material in bioethanol production. So different pretreatment schemes were also employed and evaluated in the production of sugar-rich hydrolysate from mango seed husk. And to assess the viability of processes and product performance, the properties of phenolic compounds and cellulose nanocrystals were determined and elucidated. So as a result, this work allows the utilization of mango seed kernel and mango seed husk as novel feedstock in the production of these products. So the theoretical framework of this project operates on a circular economy framework. And I think this was mentioned a while ago by Dr. Tony. So this framework is important because it addresses the sustainable development goals, specifically on SDG 9 that emphasizes inclusiveness and sustainability through economic growth and sustainable industrial practices. So circular economy follows the cradle-to-cradle framework, which focuses on the simultaneous elimination of waste as products are created from design to manufacture. So as a result, raw materials are never depleted, ideally while allowing positive coupling between economic growth and the growth of natural resources. So the targets of circular economy are categorized in 3 groups, and the utilization of waste materials as raw materials for another application falls under the useful application of materials category. So the strategic targets under this category are recycling and resource recovery. The process of recycling and recovery usher the concept of waste valorization. And a very important aspect in waste valorization is the identification, quantification, and characterization of waste materials. And after identification, appropriate bioconversion processes or routes, either conventional or novel, can then be implemented to obtain the desired application. So different waste materials require different valorization techniques. So hence the characterization of these waste materials is needed so that proper processes suitable to the biomass are adapted. And the theory of change served as a guiding framework towards recycling and resource recovery of mango processing waste. So this theory provides a comprehensive description and illustration of the order of events that is anticipated to lead to a specific desired outcome. The starting point of evaluating the theory of change is the analysis of the issue and its context and drivers, which are listed on the left portion of this diagram that we're seeing right now. The disposal of mango waste has also impacted local government units due to the enforcement of the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act RA 9003, which has limitations in implementation. So the next step in developing the theory of change is identifying developmental impacts or changes. So for a long-term change, waste valorization of mango waste seeks to achieve a mango processing industry that is already adapting a circular economy framework come 2030. The short-term change tackles development of waste valorization strategies that target smarter product use and the manufacturer, since it closes the loop in the mango processing cycle. This short-term change leads towards medium-term changes in the industry as these strategies are being adopted and incorporated in the management plans to move forward towards circular economy. So the participation of the output of this project in the theory of change is limited in the sphere of control, which is the research and development of waste valorization strategies of mango processing waste. Moreover, proactive responsiveness is still necessary so that waste valorization strategies are recognized and implemented in the mango processing industry to support circular economy, because up until now, the mango processors in the Philippines, particularly here in Cebu, is not yet supporting circular economy. So on the other hand, another conceptual framework on the right shows the approach in identifying appropriate waste valorization strategies of waste mango seeds. And waste mango seeds undergo feedstock characterization, and then valuable products based on economic value and product significance are identified. Several process designs are then evaluated, selected, and then implemented. So during implementation, changes in the process design can occur that entails revisiting the process selection and design stage. So the final stage in the framework is product characterization, in which its properties and performance are elucidated. So the strategy of waste mango seed valorization based on the desired applications is presented in this research design framework. And I'm not going to burden you with the details of the work, for the details of the individual work, but there are 5 target applications or products derived from waste mango seeds, namely the phenolic compounds extracts and spray-dried phenolic compounds powders from mango seed kernels, and sugar-rich hydrolysate, organosolved lignin, and cellulose nanocrystals from mango seed husk. So in the production of phenolic compounds extract, a mango seed kernel was subjected to the conventional solid liquid extraction using aqueous solvents at specific process conditions, such as extraction temperature and time, solid to solvent ratio, and solvent composition as well. The production of phenolic compound powders is through the use of spray drying technology. And on the other hand, the extraction of cellulose nanocrystals from mango seed husk involves a series of processes to disintegrate lignin and dissolve hemicellulose before acid hydrolysis. So the extraction of organosolved lignin is highlighted in this work. It's also highlighted in this work, in which lignin is extracted from mango seed husk via ethanol organosolved process. And so the production of sugar-rich hydrolysate, which is a raw material or starting material for bioethanol production, involved different chemical pretreatment processes, such as dilute acid hydrolysis, alkali treatment, and enzyme catalyzed hydrolysis. And then techno-economic performance of the 3 chemical pretreatment methods under different process configurations were also examined. So we'll now proceed with the findings, the general findings of our work or of this study. So this work demonstrated the utilization of the components of the waste mango seeds, which is mango seed kernel and mango seed husk, which are as alternative feedstock in various applications. So response surface methodology allowed evaluation of effects of process conditions on the response variables for the solid liquid extraction of phenolic compounds. So in the production of polyphenol powders, spray drying was applied as an encapsulation method, which imparts preservation and stability of the properties of spray dried powders. And on the other hand, organosolved-based extraction approach can be implemented to extract organosolved lignin from mango seed husk. And in the production of cellulose nanocrystals, mango seed husks were demonstrated as a potential raw material due to its lignocellulosic nature. Lastly, three chemical-based pre-treatment processes for mango seed husks are explored, and sugar-rich hydrolysates obtained from these processes were suitable for bioethanol production. So techno-economic performance of these pre-treatment processes was investigated to provide practical insights in their applicability. And among the process schemes, two configurations were found to be appropriate for mango seed husk pretreatment, namely the alkali pretreatment followed by enzyme hydrolysis, and alkali pretreatment followed by dilute acid treatment, and ultimately enzyme hydrolysis. So these processes lead to higher sugar yields, but they incur higher investment and operating cost. So from the results of our work, here are the following recommendations or future research endeavors. So we envision to explore other organic solvents and solvent systems, simultaneous optimization of solid liquid extraction process conditions through response modeling, and also simultaneous optimization of spray drying process conditions, again through response modeling. So, and also we want to look at we want to investigate the use of other natural encapsulating agents for the production of spray dried phenolic powders. We also want to explore stabilization methods to improve shelf life and preservation of powders and extracts, and also exploration of a pretreatment strategy that would optimize production of cellulose nanocrystals. We'll also look forward to optimization of acid hydrolysis and organosolv lignin extraction process conditions, and develop post-processing strategies, downstream processing of for the downstream processing of cellulose nanocrystals, and also application of fermentation process of sugar-rich hydrolysate for bioethanol production, because we acknowledge that bioethanol is much more valuable than the sugar-rich hydrolysate. But of course, sugar-rich hydrolysate is a raw material for bioethanol production. Our efforts in the treatment of mango waste through integration of several processes producing several high-value products paved the way for the establishment of Green Enviro Management Systems Incorporated. So to give you some historical accounts, several local investors back in 2012, around 2012 to 2013, were interested in what we do in BioPerk, and they decided to commercialize our technology. And this was after patent applications were submitted to the National Intellectual Property Office. So GEMS incorporates our green and integrated process for the 100% treatment of mango fruit waste, resulting in the generation of high-value product streams. And GEMS takes pride in engaging holistic and integrated approach to waste management, particularly food and agricultural waste. So it envisions to become a world-class biotechnology-based processing facility for fruit and vegetable waste utilization, recovery of high-value products, and bio-waste recycling. So it is a 2,500 square meter processing plant located in Bangka, Lapu-Lapu City, with a 20 to 30 metric tons capacity. So currently it is on its 8th year of operation, producing the following products: mango flour, polyphenol extract, and pectin powder or gels. And so through the establishment of GEMS, we were able to positively impact the society and the economy as a whole, since it was able to create jobs to people, particularly to the last, the least, and the lost. So it contributed to the economic development of the Philippines. And through this, we were able to exercise our professional responsibility, which is something that we take pride of. As for the environment, problems on mango waste disposal are reduced or eliminated through value creation of the seemingly useless waste materials. And in addition, we were able to observe the 7 Rs in waste management, particularly on rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, recycle, and rot. So I would like to extend my deepest appreciation to the following institutions and individuals, most especially to my advisors, Dr. Evelyn B. Tabuada of the University of San Carlos School of Engineering, and Dr. Camila Flor Lobarbio which is my colleague in the Department of Chemical Engineering. So I would like to thank DOST, ERDT, and PSHERD, and also USAID for the funding. I would also like to thank Case Western Reserve University Case School of Engineering for accepting us during our research collaborations, and also to Dr. Jerome Vitawada of JES. And so I was asked, or we were asked to give advice to the young generation who wants to pursue science and technology. And so I would like to share this Jewish proverb in which it says that a wise man can learn from anyone, even from a fool, but a fool can learn from no one, not even from a wise man. So I find the meaning of this quote profound, as it reminds all of us the power of listening and learning. So sometimes we feel that we know everything, that we fail to realize and acknowledge that knowledge is infinite, and that we need to see things through different lenses of perspectives. So with that, my first advice is to work hard and do good work. This is a basic rule that we need to be reminded of every day. It is not enough that you are a genius, but you have to couple it with persistence and hard work. Second, learn broadly and be focused. So every single day is an opportunity to learn, and while learning, be critical minded and expose yourself to other ways of learning, thinking, and doing by exchanging ideas with peers and colleagues. So this is all about networking. Next is to always keep it real and simple. The context of research, the best research often comes from real problems. And also, not all research is equal and not all of it is valuable. So the best research discovers simple things, solves simple things, which are often the hardest to find. And another advice is to hone your communication skills, learn to speak to an audience, and also learn to write. And my last advice, to find questions, not only answers. In the pursuit of accomplishing something, you need openness and you need to be mindful that problems are solved by asking questions. So with that, I will end my presentation, and thank you very much for listening. And I think we are all ready for questions from our participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Francis. Thank you for your message as well. Find questions, not only answers, which is actually rightly said, because we are moving towards our questions time. And of course, we hope that the participants today would actually find questions for our speakers and not only waiting for the answers. So I believe, thank you very much to Engineer Dr. Francis, and I would like to invite all the speakers on the screen again for the Q&A session. So for the Q&A session, let me see the chat box. I think the first questions is to Engineer Francis. Francis, are you there? Maybe couldn't see you. Okay. The question comes from Mr. Chiu, Dr. Chiu. What is the economic viability of your project, and is the company profitable? Maybe I will repeat.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
What is the economic viability of your project, and is the company profitable?
Yes. Prior to the pandemic, we can the company was profitable, but again, because of what we are experiencing right now, so we are experiencing losses, and so we are thinking of ways now to recoup our expenses and to be able to keep our liquidation afloat. But prior to the pandemic, we were profitable, and in fact, we have several industrial engagements, not just in the Philippines but also in international engagements. So I hope that after this pandemic, we will be back, and we will be back to our situation before the pandemic.
Thank you, Engineer Francis, Dr. Francis. Any other questions? Do you have any questions, or anyone who wants to raise up the hand and ask the questions via you can actually on your microphone as well as also speak on the Zoom as well, if there's any. Can I have any? Maybe I'll just ask a question to Linji. I believe you have been ambassador in ASEAN as well in terms of like wildlife and of course biodiversity. So we have seen your projects in Brunei. Perhaps also share with us, because today we are on the ASEAN platform, any other activities as well as also future projects in terms of not only Brunei but ASEAN.
Okay, so maybe I'll start from a local scale and then we go further out. One of the most pressing concern at the moment in a local scale is the outdated Wildlife Protection Act. So it's the policy. So once we were established back in 2014, we have tried updating the policy, but it didn't materialize because of various factors. For example, the government sector side, you have head of departments that have changed throughout the years. So our works got brought up, then came back down, and then up again, and then back down again. And then at the same time, there are more sort of updates from the conservation community as to what and how we should conserve species. Do we go species by species, meaning to say those that are categorized critically endangered in the IUCN Red List, or do we go by conservation units? So that's by habitats, for example, and not species per se. So there are a lot of discourse, if you like, in this regard. So one of the future projects, I say future, but in fact, it has been a very long fight, if you like, from a local Brunei perspective in terms of revising the Wildlife Protection Act. It is dated 1984. So you can see how outdated it is, and it only protects 34 species, which is, to be frank, quite pathetic. So we need to update that. And we're hoping this time to change our sort of approach by working with international law firms such as Deloitte, so that we get more, more backing up in our push towards this change or towards this project. So then from the regional scale, from the past few years, at least what I'm talking about is pre-COVID times, we have sort of shook hands or have quite good collaboration and sort of professional relationship, if you like, established with multiple organizations in Singapore, Malaysia. In Malaysia, this is like the Sarawak heroes, they call it, in Kuching, based in Kuching, ACB from the ASEAN sort of Center of Biodiversity. So we have a lot of projects that we have sort of initiated with these agencies. But like the same with Engineer Francis, a lot of things were put on hold. We could not materialize, or the impetus was, we drive very fast, very hard, and then such as Malaysia, you got MCO, then go back down again, So it has been a whirlwind of emotion and difficulties that we've never experienced before. So that's why now we are thinking outside the box. How else can we engage people? Maybe creating web-based sort of app, nature-based games to engage with kids. Unfortunately, the parents are trying to get the kids outside, right? Stay away from iPad, right, and phone. But now because of COVID, it's like, go back to iPad, which is very difficult, but at least it's educational on that front. So these are just pockets of projects we have in the pipeline. Reef Check is another one. They made a beautiful card, what do you call it? Like a board game. We wanted to bridge this board game reflecting 3 countries, Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei, on one board game, so that in that board game, people can feel connected regionally speaking. So there's so many, hard to list them all down now, but these are ones that are very exciting from my perspective. But unfortunately, I cannot share any sort of successful stories because they're still in progress. Back to you.
Yeah, that's good. I'm looking forward for the upcoming what we call activities as well as also products from you, especially for kids. I have kids, so it's very interesting to know that. Hopefully the board games and so on. Okay, let's move on to our next question. This question is from I believe Mr. Lau, Dr. Lau or Mr. Lau. I think it's for Dr. Tony as well as also Linji itself. Maybe we'll get Dr. Tony to answer first. What research or study that would help towards biodiversity and waste management? So this is first question. And the second one is, as an electrical engineer or computer science backgrounds, how could one contribute to this research or study? So maybe we have Dr. Tony on waste management, how research and study, what are the research or study that could help towards waste management? And of course, as an electrical engineer or computer science background, how could he or contribute to this?
Yeah, now we are living in the fourth industrial revolution. So everything has changed from the old paradigm, from the traditional paradigm of waste management, from being problem into being resources. So if your background is electrical engineering, think how your expertise in electrical engineering can change the way of waste management. For example, you need to be involved in applying digitalizations such as AI or machine learning to make the output of waste management become more efficient and more safer, and most importantly, more sustainable. This is my advice. So there is connection waste management to every aspect of our life. So each of discipline could contribute through this sector. In case your background in electrical engineering, if you have expertise in AI or IoT or big data or cloud computing, it would make the field advance beyond what we can imagine. Thank you.
Okay, can I cut in for a while? I think we have a lot of very learned people here, very experienced, which can actually contribute to this, give a little bit of to this answer. No? Can I invite Tan Sri Ahmad Tajuddin? I see his face there. Are you there, Tan Sri Ahmad Tajuddin? He was the former president of the Academy of Sciences Malaysia, which is very much into doing all kinds of research. So can you share a little bit of your idea what a guy with an electrical engineering background contribute to the new norm? He himself is an electrical engineer, I believe. Oh no, he's a nuclear engineer or something like that. Ansri, are you there? Can you hear me? No. If not, then maybe we can ask somebody else. Manso, you are very much into this. Maybe he has put his hands up. Maybe
I think Mansoor put up his hand. Thank you, Dr. Tony, on the good idea on how to link electrical engineers to waste management. So maybe we'll give a chance to Mr. Mansoor, who has actually raised his hands.
Thank you. Thank you very much, colleagues. And I really appreciated all three talks. I put also in chat that the young scientists have been doing wonderfully well. My question is only to Francis about the self-sustaining of the project, whether the products are valuable enough, or you are earning from that to sustain it and therefore scale it up to many areas of mango growing, which includes my country, Pakistan, where I'm speaking from, where a lot of mango as well as many other fruits and vegetables are really wasted. And the losers are only those farming communities, farmers, which do not necessarily market their product themselves. So that's my question. And I, as a foreign fellow of the AET, this is my second program that I'm participating, and I really appreciating AET and people like Engineer Chu Kok Bang and Datu Lee Chong and Hintek Chua and all others. This is wonderful job that you people are doing, really. Thank you. So, Francis, please.
Yes, okay. So thank you so much for that question, Dr. Manzoor. Yes, we are definitely going towards the direction of scaling it up. Actually, we have scaled it up through Green Environment Management Systems Incorporated, or GEMS, but we are also looking at partnerships with other countries or other cities that have problems in the waste disposal of mango waste. So actually, if I remember it correctly, last around 2014 to 2015, some investors from Vietnam were interested with our technology, and we had some sort of preliminary discussions with them on how they are going to apply our technology in their country, because Vietnam is also producing lots of mangoes worldwide, and the disposal there is also an issue. So yeah, we are gearing towards that direction, and we are looking forward to collaborate with you. I think the challenge with that one is to retrofit our technology in your country, because we have different scenarios, we have different situations. So, but overall, our technology is applicable also to the needs of your country, which is the reutilization of this mango waste.
Thank you, Engineer Francis, and of course, thanks also from Prof. Dr. Manzoor for the questions. Perhaps also this will also open up a lot of like what I call integration and of course collaboration between yourself and also other countries. So feel free to actually contact Francis after this. I think he has actually left the email also and contacts.
Can I also make additional answers on the question regarding the electrical engineering?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, because I'd like to share this to everyone that when we conceptualize, or when GEMS was conceptualized through commercialization of our technology, we also have collaborations with electrical engineers on building solar panels, because the technology that we have involves also energy use, and we wanted to integrate, or we wanted to have some kind of integration of energy, because if you produce these products, you need energy. So that is why we asked them to build solar panels for us, and we also asked them to develop measures in order to integrate energy, or in order to have this integration between heat and energy to reduce our electricity cost, because that is also one of the problems that we have right now on the electricity cost. And I think Cebu right now has higher electricity cost. So yeah, so I think that is the role of electrical engineering in the context of waste management.
Hey, Yao, I just want to add to what Francis is saying. Now, I'm not an engineering background, so I can only contribute from a biology background. But towards that question of what research or study that would help towards biodiversity and waste, I just thought to flag up that there is this need or impetus to look at nature-based solution. So now with the UNEP and UNDP, they're all pushing towards this. And one such example is to harness the sort of biological potential of microalgae in decomposing plastics. So obviously it would somehow link to engineering, you know, to enable this from front end to the back end. But that core, I'm hoping that there are more research that could look into this. We're running out of time, you know, globally speaking. So I'm hoping that we can push towards that. Because on my front, you know, with sort of two platforms that I'm working on this, my NGO is more like education, you know, but towards my full-time job, we are looking at solutions, real solutions that make a difference. So that's one, I'm hoping that the platform here, you know, the seniors and the juniors, like if you like, can look into that too, nature-based solution. Yeah, back to you.
Thanks, Linji and Francis, for the exciting answers, and of course also opening up a lot of opportunities for collaboration. Maybe we get another 1 or 2 questions because the time is running out. Anyone who actually want to post any questions up from we don't call seniors, but actually more experienced engineers or participants. Okay. Any questions from the floor? Maybe we allow another 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, I have one question, but not necessarily about the technical bit. It's more like what is the you know, being with COVID now, how does MCCC and AAET going to sort of operate in this difficult time? What's going on basically with this?
Sure.
Could you say? Yeah.
This I believe I will get Engineer Chu to answer this as a part of because he's part of the steering committee of ASEAN AAET Green Awards today. Perhaps Engineer Chu, you want to actually maybe say a few words on this, on how we can still do our activities during COVID.
COVID has presented a golden opportunity, especially for NGOs. Because in the past, you have to look for money and organize the event. And then when you invite the experts to come, you got to fly them in, you know. Some experts are very good, they fly in on their own, but many still want you to buy them a business class ticket to go. Put them in a nice hotel to stay, give them the best food that you can have in your town, you know. I used to do that, so I know about this. But today is the opportunity is open. You know? You can just organize a webinar session, you can get people from all over the world. We can get the very experts from all over the world. So this is the golden era for the NGOs to flourish. So if you miss this, I'm very sorry for you. So as far as AAET is concerned, we realize that. And what we actually do is, one very important thing we do is, we as the seniors are taking it as an opportunity to pass the batons, BATONS, not T-N with the S, to all the young people. People like Yao Chao Fong, Dr. Folk. You see a lot of seniors here, no? Like Dr. Chiu from Singapore. We were the people that started this this initiative. And then they got also foreign fellows who come in. No? They are very important to us. But we have passed the baton over to the young people, and we depend on them to do all this kind of thing of how they want to promote this. This breakfast talk was actually the idea of the young group that I chair. I only chair. I don't make decisions. When I chair, I don't make decisions. So the young group, and then they came up with this idea. I think it's great. Like today's idea was great. It took a while to take off, but it's great. It's great. So that is what my short answer to you. The pandemic has provided a golden era for NGOs, because I'm very much involved in NGO activities. Not only locally but internationally. So people like you, this is a golden opportunity.
Yes, you're right.
Known, make yourself pretty when you appear on the screen. Then there's opportunity here. There's also another opportunity to find the Mr. Right if you have not married yet. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Chu.
Thanks, Engineer Chu. Maybe one or two final questions from the participants, maybe from our friends, my friends like Engineer Romulo or even Mr. Lee or Engineer Titlat.
Yeah, may I take the floor?
Hi, Romulo.
Yeah, actually, this is directed to Linji. In the Philippines, we have about 7,000 islands, and the biodiversity is that large. No? And we talk about biodiversity. Maybe what I'm thinking right now is to organize a youth, no? About how to do what you're doing in your country. So maybe one of these days, once I gather all these interested youth, maybe I can ask you to present, or maybe how you do it in your country, how to protect the biodiversity, especially in areas, like in Holo, no, we in southern part of the Philippines, where we started cow colony there, no, and there's nothing that protects the biodiversity in that area, and some other islands also.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, not maybe, it's a definite plan that I will do. To organize the youth, maybe in 1 or 2 provinces, then I will ask you to talk to them, maybe present how you do it in your country.
Mm-hmm.
From there, we can start. If face-to-face will be viable, then maybe, not maybe, it will be done. We will invite you to help some sort of a workshop or seminar in the Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Romulo. I'm more than happy to support.
That's good.
Thanks.
That's good.
Yeah.
And with the help of Mr. Chokok Beng, I think it can be done.
Yeah, we'll definitely be interested to actually join the event as well, to know the biodiversity in Brunei and also in Philippines.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions? We are at 11:30. Maybe one final questions before I actually invite
Engineer Yao. This is Manzoor Sumro again, and if you allow, I just want to say to particularly Lin Ji that for biodiversity, I think I'm a biologist myself also. For biodiversity conservation, we need to educate our younger lot. And of course, in certain countries, there is a biodiversity component in their curriculum. But I think exposing young children and their teachers, and particularly girls, showing some of the role models like herself, I think that plays quite a role. And linking young children and their teachers to some of these success stories about biodiversity conservation, and also ecosystem services, because biodiversity is for us all. We are interdependent, and that needs to be promoted. So thank you. That's my
Thank you, Manzoor. I think we are at 11:30. We do not want to hold your weekend, so I would like to invite Engineer Chu to give his closing remarks. He's just joining us. He's a very busy man, but of course, spending his time with us today. Engineer Chu, maybe closing remarks on behalf of AAET.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we need to put on this problem. Okay, thank you very much. I should have put up my handphone. It did follow the cardinal rule. Okay, thank you very much. I think before I do my short closing remark, there is another person that I would like to. There's another person within us that is a foreign fellow of AAET, Professor Gong Yi. Are you there, Professor Gong Yi? Professor Gong Yi, are you there?
He just put a message that if you look at his message, he has to leave for another meeting, but he's actually mentioned that it's a very inspiring presentation and discussion.
It's a pity because he is one of the leaders of the World Federation of Engineering Organization. So I thought that we could have picked him up to pick his brains a little bit, But anyway, I think that for all of you here today, you are very lucky. This is your lucky day. Please put on your video. You're going to take your photograph because this is the 10th year of the ASEAN Green Award. We started in 2011. So this is the 10th year. So you will appear in all our publications from now until the end of AAET. Okay? For those who did not attend, I'm sorry we cannot add you in. Although we have the technology to do it, we must play the rule very fair. Those who attend. So I've asked folk to take as many photographs as possible, small ones, and show everybody. So please show your face on the screen. Now, the other thing I would like to say is, of course, there is after this particular pandemic, you can see that there are new norms coming up. Many opportunities for startups. And nearly 40 award winners that we have are actually the ones that fit into the profile of a startup. Many have already succeeded. Many folks, can you mute yourself?
I mute you first.
I know folks' daughter is calling in. So anyway, the nearly 40 winners that we have had for the last few competitions that we had, I'm very happy to know that almost all of them has been successful in some way or another. They turn out to be very good entrepreneurs. So that is the success of the ASEAN Green Award. So going forward, I would like to appeal to all the regional representatives, especially. There's no such thing as there's a crisis in my country and I cannot name a winner. There are always this kind of people in the country that are very passionate about the climate, passionate about green technology. Just name them, and we would like to capture them into our family, and give them an opportunity to win an award and get the recognition, so that they will be successful not only themselves in the future, but they will be able to contribute a lot to saving Mother Earth. So at the present moment, I get very worried because why I was late joining you all was because I was hosting a seminar to talk about why the tall buildings are collapsing. So we are all building tall buildings for all our cities, and tall buildings are collapsing. So I had to spend 1.5 hours earlier to talk about this subject, and I would like to share this subject with you all, maybe in another webinar in the future. You get we realize we will talk about how dangerous it is that as we urbanize, we go into all these tall buildings, and they will collapse one day. So how do we prevent these buildings from collapsing? Okay. Thank you very much. I think I also noted that there are a lot of, it was a very successful morning. We have more than 40 participants. And we have more than 10 countries participating. So give yourself a small clap. A small clap.
Mr. Chopong, can I have the last, can I talk to Mr. Chopok Beng?
No, wait, let me finish first, Romy. My one very short.
Okay.
Let me finish, Romy. I like your idea about your many islands. So you can invite the young lady there. But at the moment, you just don't need to pay any money because she can go on the screen and talk to you. But I would advise the young lady, nothing is free. Nothing is free.
Yes, of course.
A reasonable reimbursement is all the time appreciated. Philippines is very famous for mangoes, nice food, beautiful islands. Please, in the future, when you're allowed to travel, please make sure that Romy takes you there and give you a holiday for what the effort they put in. And if you want company, we can accompany you. We'll stay behind. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll pass it on to Romy. Romy, you want to say a few
Romy, quick closing?
No, a while ago you said about that you have a talk about the buildings. No, maybe if you can give me a synopsis of your talk, I can organize one here.
Yes,
that's one of our topic right now. After that collapse of building in Florida.
Okay.
So, again, being aware about those tall buildings, especially condominiums that are mushrooming around the Philippines right now.
Right. So I tell you what, Romy, you can fix a date before the end of this month. I'm all ready.
Okay. Just give me the gist of your talk.
Yeah, but you don't have to buy me a business class ticket to go to Manila.
Of course, yeah, of
stay
course.
At the Manila hotel, which you used to do in the past. I don't need that anymore. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we are coming to the end of our session today. Just a quick ending remarks from me as a moderator. Just to remind all, especially the young engineers here today, we're going to have our Green Award 2021 organized by AAET, as mentioned by Nichu, our 10th anniversary. And the details, of course, is for engineers or even contributors who are aged 40 below from the ASEAN countries, and the nominees are in the respective categories of greenhouse, protecting land, with water resources, minimizing waste, and so forth. And of course, the closing date is actually end of this month, so be quick. And the awards will be given out in October or November, in conjunction with the KL Science Fair in Malaysia. I believe it will be virtual. And for those who want more information, please log on to the website, and you can contact Dr. Fook at the email address given here. And feel free to actually nominate your friends or your young engineers in your country, like what Engineer Chu has mentioned. No limits, feel free to do it. And definitely we will want you to join the team, to join us to actually share in maybe next year as well in our webinars to our new upcoming contributors in green. So with that, I believe before we end, maybe we will just do a group photo. So hope that all of you can actually put up your video. Okay, so let me say 1, 2, 3. Let me, okay. First page, let me do the second page. Today there's so many. Okay, second page, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I think we come to the end of our session today. Thank you very much for joining us from all over the ASEAN country. We will definitely see you again in our 5th series, which I believe is coming soon. And don't forget to nominate your fellow friends or even yourself to the Green Awards today, this year. So once again, thank you. And thank you, Engineer Chu, for the closing remarks. And thank you, the ASEAN fraternity for joining us today. And we'll see you soon, and stay safe and take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye to everyone. Please stay safe.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.